Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome. It is
Oh shit!
podcast episode 26. And we're off to a great start here. Hi, my name is DRF, and I guess my fun fact of the day is that I will be on a plane to San Jose here in just about 24 hours. And I am joined by
Yeah.
the lovely Shiny and Fufu. Shiny, please kick us off here.
Hello, gladly. Hi, my name is Shiny Pikmin. My fun fact of the day is I have been wearing this hat right over here for the last 10 years of my life, pretty much every single day. Just recently replaced by this cool Splatoon bucket hat, and I too will be on a flight to Booyah Bay, San Jose, in less than 24 hours as well. Fufu, how about yourself?
Hello, I am Fufu. Fun fact, I'm also going to be in a plane to San Jose not too long from here, from now. Also, I'm not home. I'm at Shiny's house.
I
Um, yeah, we're here for a good time, not a long time.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah.
Well, thank you both so much for joining me today. I am so excited to have you both join us on the CCA podcast. There has been so many fun different storylines that have started to develop in the CCA circuit, and you all got a chance to commentate the Circuit Qualifier 2 Division 2 Top Cut this past weekend. So I guess let's just start there real quick before we jump into our announcements. I mean, how was that experience for you all? Because Shiny, I know for you in particular, this was like your first time doing a like prolonged commentary gig.
Yes, I am a competitive player myself, Division X player. I do not I talk about the game to individuals, don't talk about the game to the masses, however. So it was a fun time. I was very happy to be here with Fufu. Fufu is a much more experienced commentator than I am myself. So as for it was kind of normal. I talk to Fufu all the time, and it was just like let's just yap to the people about what's happening on the screen here. So all in all, it was a little bit of a rocky experience due to just some technical issues and whatnot. But aside from that, it was such an incredible time. Like truly, I cannot wait to be around for more CCA because the storylines that develop, as you mentioned before, and what I've already read up here that we're going to talk about in this podcast. I'm so excited to see evolve as we go on throughout the season.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, it's just so fun. CCA just commentate CCA is just a whole like different field of its own. It's just like these are all students just like the rest of us, so it just feels different. It feels amazing. I'm excited to see like more of what CCA has to offer. If I'm being honest.
Well,
Absolutely,
it
yeah.
was awesome having you guys. So thank you both for lending your voices and for joining me today. So we have an action-packed episode today. We've got some CCA announcements first of all, and then we're going to be jumping into our Qualifier 2 division recap, followed by Qualifier 2's best clips, and then ending off with an interview with the University of Houston's Crab and Go, the biggest storyline of the circuit so far. So we are so excited to have them join us in just a little bit. But first, we do have some announcements that we're going to be going through first and foremost. To kick things off, CCA Stats Collection. This is your reminder that the CCA is collecting stats on every single match of the CCA circuit. So please, please, please check in with your captain to make sure that they have successfully submitted all of their stats through the stats info channel after every circuit event. And then furthermore, new stats visuals are up on Hoken's visualization website now. So please go check that out if you are interested. The stats project just has been so awesome to see continue to unfold. Shiny Fufu, did you all get a chance to play a little bit with the stats website this past weekend?
Yeah, we have. Want to speak to that, Fufu?
Yeah, so it's very fun. It's like you get to. I was mainly using the stats comparison, especially during our commentary set last time for the Div 2 Top Cut. It was cool just to be okay. Here's our team that's playing, and here's our other team that's playing. It's just like here are the win rate differences. Here are all the map points. It's just an incredible collection of stats that just makes life easier there, both on the commentary stand, and it's just really cool to see the stats that your team has. Other that you wouldn't otherwise see on your own, really.
As someone who's been playing the game for such a long time, I love stats so much. I know the frame data of so many weapons in this game. I reference the doc constantly for that kind of thing. But to see that live update, over time, and like you said there, it was so awesome to especially check out Splatoon White. As again, we're gonna get to this later on here, but just to mention here on the specific of the stats here, Splatoon White has an amazing win rate in Rainmaker, and it makes sense because of they're running with ballstring. And it was just so cool to see the prediction, like their past performance and how we could predict the actual set and how that would go. It was oh my goodness, like the script writes itself. with those stats, and they don't lie. It's fantastic.
Yeah, the stats project. Okay, like to be fair, because I don't know if you all know the history of the stats project. It's something that I started first with Falco's Friday Night Frenzy, and I was like, we have a very confined like 8-team league, and like I got asked to do commentary, and I'm like, I don't really know much about these teams, so I just went back, watched all the VODs, made a giant spreadsheet of all their stats, and then I was like, wait, this is genius. Let me take this to the CCA. And then Hoken showed up, and who is our stats guy from the University of Central Florida, and he saw that and was like, that's a cute spreadsheet you got. What if we just made this a massive database? And it just
Dude,
blew up, and now it is way above my level of knowledge. So I don't even
it's
bother
so
anymore.
impressive.
I just look at the stats. I can't even tell you how the stats work.
The evolution of the stat sheet. We love to see it.
Oh yes.
Well, so that is the stats update. Additionally, we do
Yes.
have a fantasy update as well. So fantasy scores for the first qualifier have been updated, and here are some of the highlights. The highest score right now is Comrade with 63 points, followed closely by V out of Penn State with 62, and Wannaplay at 60. The players with the best Div 1 picks were Hoken, Snow, and V, which I don't think there's too many surprises there, given we have Penn State and Hoken, our stats guy, earning 36 points in Div 1. Storm Coder World had the best Div 2 picks so far at 23 points. Wannaplay had the best Div 3 picks, earning 28 points. And then finally, Hoken again and Spruce Fox
Again.
had the best Div 4 picks, earning 12 points in that division. So next week, Snow will be updating qualifier number 2 fantasy points, so be on the lookout for that. Oh man, okay. And 2 more announcements here as well, because there's a lot that's going on, just not just in the CCA, but in the Collegiate Splatoon space. The Collegiate Scrim Circuit, our friends over at the CSC, are running dual enrollment, Tower and Clamblitz. The Collegiate Scrim Circuit will be hosting an event this Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and it will be focused on tower control and Clamblitz. Registration is currently live on Battlefy, so head on over and sign up to get some more practice on these 2 ranked modes. Definitely would recommend giving this event a shot. The folks over at CSC have a lot of overlap with the CCA, and they always do a fantastic job of putting on events for folks to just get that collegiate specific practice.
David, I just want to interject here real quick
Yeah.
here. As somebody from the outside, really in the competitive Splatoon community, but not so much in the collegiate scene, the idea of having just, just a time set aside to practice these not so much practice modes, especially, here in the West. That's so cool. I don't know. I just wanted to say that. I felt the need because that's such a cool event to have. Yeah,
Yeah, especially when we see a lot of zones dominated tournaments and just scrims. This is a really cool event to have, if I'm being honest.
we need more
Oh
clams
yeah.
propaganda. Clams is such
Yeah,
an incredibly
I
fun mode.
agree. Like we need more
It's so fun
clamblets.
to watch.
It
Yeah.
is. I don't know. It's so team dynamic, and I understand the argument about like the maps. I mean that's just the Splatoon 3 issue in general. But
Oh,
it's still. I think it's still. We need more clamblets in general. More, a little more tower control. I know Rainmaker is like kind of on its way out the door in some corners of the scene, but nonetheless, it's super awesome event by the Collegiate Scrim Circuit. So
Absolutely,
please go give
absolutely.
them a look. I believe you can find more info in the Discord, probably under Collegiate Promotion. Um, and then lastly, last announcement for now, in partnership with the Collegiate Scrim Circuit, Champlain College Esports is hosting a collegiate charity tournament on November 2nd. It is a gimmick and draft tournament that will feature donation milestones that enforce restrictions on the play of all teams throughout the tournament. For more info, including rule set and registration, go check out the Collegiate Scrim Circuit Discord. It is going to be for a good cause. I believe it's part of the Extra Life charity
Oh,
event that goes on
nice.
usually in late October, early November. So shout out to Champlain College Esports. That's super awesome that you guys are doing this. So please go give them a hand.
Yes, please.
Now, that is it for our announcements. So that's going to go ahead and bring us over to our next segment here, which will be the Qualifier 2 Division Recap. So a lot of action that we saw from throughout the entire qualifier through all 4 divisions. We had a record high 107 teams play in this qualifier. I believe it was up to like 115 at the end of signups. Like we are right at the edge of the cap, folks. 128 team cap, and we are pushing that. So kudos to you all, and thank you all for the continued support. But let's go ahead and break down what we saw in some of these divisions. And to join us, actually, will be special guest Nasu, the team manager for the University of Houston teams. We'll bring Nasu in here because Nasu has a team from the University of Houston in every single division. Is that right, Nasu?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm Nasu. I'm coming in from the University of Houston and really excited to look at all these divisions, everything that's going on. We are blessed to have a lot of teams this year and a lot of teams in different divs. So, I mean, let's get straight into it. Let's break down all the action.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and hop first into Division 4. Division 4, this qualifier raising the bar as Push, VCU Spirality, and Galactic Tide being the only 3 teams that improved their Swiss records from Qualifier 1 to Qualifier 2. So now Push had gone from 1-3 up to 3-1, VCU Spirality 2-2 to 3-1, and then Galactic Tide coming up short, did not win anything in Qualifier 1, now in Qualifier 2 coming up with 2 set wins. So we love to see that sort of natural progression, especially for some of these, newer teams like Push and Galactic Tide. So all 3 teams were able to make that top cut in their respective groups with these improved records. So kudos to them, honestly. That's pretty huge. And meanwhile, as well, we did see Terminal Illinois and C# Major. They placed 2nd and 4th respectively in their Swiss groups. So both teams had played in Division 3 and Qualifier 1 and definitely struggled there a little bit. So, again, dynamic divisions. This allows folks to really find their proper place and get their footing. So now that they were in Division 4, they both made a good run, went 3-1 to Swiss stage, and made that top cut as well. So I'm really impressed to see, that they did have bounce back. They weren't kind of discouraged from that Qualifier 1 necessarily. So let's see what Terminal Illinois and C# Major can continue to do. I'm pretty excited about that. So, but I will go ahead and as we kind of, look towards the bracket stage here in just a bit, Nasu, can you give us a little bit of, what Houston team did we have to look out for here in Division 4 this qualifier, and what was your takeaway from them as well?
Yeah, so down in Div 4, this is actually the only div for this qualifier that we didn't have any teams in. But coming from it, we did have 2 teams last quali that were in Div 4. And this is a really, really interesting division because you have a lot of teams that are comprised of players that maybe have never touched the competitive scene, who have never seen themselves in some of these situations. So seeing them develop and seeing teams like Spirality, seeing teams like C# Major pick up those first few wins, starting to take those steps, that's the beauty of the qualifier system. Being able to build that confidence, being able to kind of experiment and dip your toes in, it's really great to see these teams that are up and coming. But you have other people, like you're saying, that have been here before. Teams like Push, teams like MTSU, like Octo and Squid, right? They're really starting to make a name for themselves and starting to punch above their level. Really interesting div to look at.
Oh, absolutely. Like Div 4 is just so entertaining because there's so many just question marks with so many new folks and moving pieces. I can't promise it necessarily, but I do think that Qualifier 3, I would like that second stream to focus on Div 4 because it's always good to, shed some light on the newbies. We wanted to avoid, give them a little bit of spotlight in the Swiss stage, but we didn't want to put the pressure on them because it's so, newbie filled. It can be intimidating to be on stream your very first time competing. So nonetheless, I'm excited to see what more comes from Division 4, but let's go ahead and talk about the bracket stage real quick because Virginia Commonwealth University did get a bit of an in-house matchup during the opening match of Div 4 Top Cut. The Shadow Warriors, VCU's newest team, came in clutch with a 2-1 victory over VCU Spirality, and they managed to proceed on to that top 8. So kudos to them. I actually did not recognize that initially until we had started looking at the divisions. But yeah, that's always funny to see when you get 2 teams from the same school that run into each other. And then additionally, 3 teams make their debut in Qualifier 2 and with a podium placement in Division 4. So we had SSU Esports out of Sonoma State. They went 4-0 in their group, clinching the number 1 seed in the bracket, and kept that momentum going, taking first place overall in their CCA debut, which that is, again, chef's kiss there. You know, they're really kind of reflecting some of that grab and go that we saw in Qualifier 1. And then additionally, we had Octos and Squids United, went 4-0, finished as the number 2 seed, number 2 place spot in Division 4, and then High Tide Terps out of the University of Maryland College Park, rounding out your top 3 after beating Terminal Illinois, a team that we had just talked about moving down to Div 4 to round out your 3rd and 4th place spots.
Yes, indeed. Moving on to Division 3 too, or Division 3 as well. On the Swiss stage, Champlain Seafoam and RIT White Ponds dominated groups A and B respectively. Compared to qualifier number 1, White Ponds had a consistent 4-0 record, while Seafoam considerably improved from a 2-2. White Ponds also added Oshino Shinobu, I hope I got that pronunciation correctly, to their roster. And Julian of Seafoam was unable to attend this qualifier. Yes. So, other notable statistics between qualifiers 1 and 2 is Cut the Hook and Crimson Reef were able to improve their Swiss record, going from a 2-2 to a 3-1. That's what we'd like to see there, honestly. And foreshadowing their bracket placement, Yukon Siberia demonstrated their considerable their consistency by maintaining a 3-0 record from the last qualifier. Just as a side note, again, looking in from the outside, team names been fantastic. I am loving CCA team names. Yukon Siberia as well is
They
a good
usually do a good job.
favorite of mine.
Usually.
Yeah,
Ask
usually.
me later about my opinion on Springfield, Ohio, but
Oh,
well,
I've seen. Don't worry, I've seen something.
they know
Pardon me.
about them.
Getting back to Division 3 though, some new high performers entered the fray. UCF Rising and NAU Lytical. Yes, Port.
Not.
Sorry, Nautical. Pardon me,
The
Nautical
NAU
Port.
Yeah,
there is
yeah.
Northern Arizona University, so not too far from you guys.
Not
NAU has a team?
NAU.
Yeah?
Yeah. Up
Oh,
in
there's a
Division
rival.
here.
Don't NAU and ASU have like rivalry already?
Yes, we do. Listen, I'm ASU myself here. But sorry, getting back to it here. Nautical Port exited their qualifiers with a great record of 3 wins and 1 loss. Unfortunately, after a rough Q1 of Division 2, USF Splatoon Green played in Division 3 qualifiers and were much more comfortable, it feels, with the teams in this grouping. Going 3-1 in the Swiss, going 3-1 in Swiss. Also USF Splatoon Green is new to Division 3 from 2, dropping down a little bit there. They seem to be a lot more comfortable in here as well. Sorry, I already just said that. They have a 3-1 record in Division 3 here as compared to a 1-3 in Division 2. Just elaborating that a little bit there. Moving on to the bracket stage. The star of our most latest Cinderella story is most definitely Bubblehack Gang, who entered bracket with a 2-2 Swiss record and has a 12-16 seed. And exited with the silver medal after taking the winning team to game 5. Which, I mean, listen here. Whatever they say about that, like, that is a crazy upset. Going from a seed 12-16 to 2nd place after
Yeah.
taking the 1st place team to a game 5. Like, come on, man. Hats off to Bobble Hat Gang.
Go
Absolutely.
bubble.
Yeah, we love the
It's
bobbles.
always so rough coming in as a double-digit seed. So they definitely were like middle of the pack in their group, you know, towards the bottom end. And I mean, it seemed like they actually were able to piece it together pretty well. For the record, on bobble hacking, while we're on the topic, all of their matchups except for round 1 went the full distance. So
You're kidding me.
Bro,
yes.
that you're consistently playing out like all the matches, like, and they still had the stamina to take the winning team to another game 5 after going so many distances to that final match. That's ridiculous.
And
That's
for more
insane.
context too, they had upsets over, Crimson Reef, Cut the Hook, UCF, right? Like Knights Rising, like, very prominent teams already throughout this division. So again, I cannot give enough praise there. While it wasn't a 1st place, while you may think that you come up a little bit short there, speaking as somebody who has lost a fair few tournaments, game 5 or game 7, y'all get the praise you deserve. Absolutely. Moving on though as well. Speaking of the winning team, Yukon Siberian Squids managed to take home the gold, overcoming the top performers such as RIT White Pawns and the surprise knockout of the Bobblehat Gang, again ending their beautiful Cinderella run. The battle for third place was held between UCF Knights Rising and RIT White Pawns. It went all the way to Game 5 again. Just one thing that I really want to mention here, real quick. This dynamic division, something that we don't see often in the greater competitive Splatoon scene, is fantastic. You are getting such incredible games that go all the way to Game 5 or Game 3. As we're gonna mention here, Fufu and I were the commentators for the Division 2 finals, and the amount of like Game 5s, Game 3s that we saw, hats off to the just dynamic divisions.
Get it, hats, bobble hats.
No, I'm not taking this. This is too quick.
Yeah,
I'll put it
okay.
You see what I did there? You're
on the way to the third place title match. UCF took down RIT Black Sea Dragons and Group A champions. And the Group A champions Champlain Cerulean before falling to the Bobblehead Gang. And RIT White Pawns kept the momentum from Swiss going until the Siberian Squids managed to knock them out during the semifinals in a close set. Once again, hats off to the amount of close sets that we're seeing here. Fufu, want to take away Division 2?
Indeed. This Division 3 was already packed with such goodness. I'm like, oh, we gotta keep it going here. Because looking at the Division 2 Swiss stage, keep in mind we were actually able to commentate a bit of the bracket stage here for Division 2, so that was also very fun. But taking it back a notch here, we're looking at the Swiss stage because we had some really, really good runs here for the past circuit here in Division 2 here. Reef Runners were able to bounce back from a worse performance in quarter one, but qualifier one by going 2-2 in the Swiss stage with no wins over RIT Orange Kois and Coyotes Black. Interesting. And then we keep going here after a rough we go back to bear with me. The brain is going. Moving down to D2 after a rough time in Division 1 here in the previous circuit, FSU Garnet had a fantastic run in Division 2, going 3-1 in their games, only losing to EAUCD Splatoon White in Game 3. Splatoon White, those guys were also absolutely insane.
Yes.
That's Dangerous has a fantastic run in Swiss, able to go 4-0 in their matches, and only dropping one game, and that was to UNM Esports. So incredible job there, if you ask me. And then MTSU Skyfall once again had a solid performance, able to go 3-1 in their matches with notable wins over HLG Blue and UNM Esports. Again, we are seeing some amazing scores already, and that's only Swiss. And moving on, we also have WPI Grisco Workers Union, Nouveau. We gotta add the Nouveau in there. Nouveau. Once again, go 2-2 and ended up in 9th place, just barely missing that bracket for the second time. Very unfortunate there. But we're gonna be able to see them. We're gonna break that curse next time.
Yeah, that
Here's
one was
hoping.
heartbreaking because they
Oh,
came
really?
in 9th in their group back-to-back times, and they missed out by like 1% on the opponent win percentage.
Oh man,
Tragic.
They've gotten like incredibly unlucky. But you know what? WPI's had a lot of success in the past. I definitely think there's a way for them to bounce back from this. They are definitely one of the most successful universities that we have had here at the CCA. So if anyone
The thoughts
can
go out
get
to you.
through it, they definitely can.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we got more qualifiers to go through. Like, there's a lot more chances here. Just the unfortunate luck on that end there in the Swiss bracket. But enough of Swiss. We're going to be moving on to that bracket stage here for Div 2. So this top cut was really interesting, if you ask me. There was a lot going on there. Of the 8 teams from Group B that made the bracket, it was only one. We only had one team from Group B, and that was Bad to the Barnacle. They were able to make it to top 8, but they did go down to UCD Splatoon White, which we did see
We did actually
towards the end of the
commentate that
bracket.
one, yes.
Yeah, we saw around. So there's a lot of Swiss Group A rep here later on, so we're going to be seeing a lot of that as well. Reef Runner had a really good bracket run here, going undefeated in round 1 and 2 before meeting EAUCD Splatoon White in semis. While they did lose the match, Reef Runner was able to get a sweep over CSULB Black in the 3rd place match right then there. So still really good. EAUCD Splatoon White was almost unstoppable there. They were seed 1 from Group A, but they were able to sweep to most of the bracket, and they didn't drop a game until the last match. It was it was at Game 5, the Game 5 final. That was an amazing game, by the way. So they had an amazing run there, and that's the one we commentated.
Yes, and I actually wanted to ask one thing here, real quick here, David. The anchor for Splatoon White, what was their name?
When you ask me specific players, that I could not pull those out off the top of my head, but
Here, I can.
Sorry to stop the momentum here. The reason why I ask is the biggest takeaway that I remember seeing from Splatoon White is the flexibility of their anchor. That anchor, I believe, during their set brought out a Snipe Rider 5H, a vanilla well string, and then a Tenebrella Nouveau as well.
I think it was Night Bloom, wasn't
it? It was Wishy-Washy. That's what it was. Yes. They had, I'm sorry, that is a vanilla well string, custom well string, Sniper Rider 5H, 5B, and Tent Nouveau. Which, as an anchor player myself, the flexibility of that.
There.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying. That unlocks so many different kinds of archetypes for that comp to play around. So I just wanted to point that out there because that was some really good anchoring from them there. That's Wishy-Washy from Splatoon White.
They are wishy-washy with just all the talent they got. They're like,
yes, sir.
Wishy-washy we can watch that way.
In a positive way.
Correct.
Yes. I felt so bad. It's like, we're over there. You know, you got everything on your arsenal. Like you got everything right there. You're living well, you're eating well as an anchor. Just it unlocks so many more play styles to do. We'd love to see it here because those guys had an absolutely amazing run. As we said, they went up to Game 5. We were able to see that set, and chef's kiss.
Yeah, and not just that. Also, all that flexibility in the anchor role, having to go against it, it's such an adjustment. They have that mental game on top of you when you're doing that.
Exactly. I know when they brought the Tenebrella in that final game, I was like, there's a Tenebrella
out. Like, what are you doing? Like, why is it there?
Well, yeah, I guess just on that topic real quick, because Nasu, like you, we'll get more into this in a little bit, but like, you know, as a team manager, you know, what was your thought as you're watching this? Because I know at that point you basically were probably solely focused on Grab and Go.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I was committed to just making sure that team was good. We went the latest in. And whenever you run into those situations as a manager, as a player, as a captain, right, it's important to make sure that doesn't get to you, right? We'll talk about this later with Grab and Go, but it's really about making sure that you're playing your own game. Once you start kind of entering the enemy's domain, that's when things can get scrappy. That's when things can get complicated. And not every team can live up to that. So that's a really nice upper hand for teams that might be thinking, hey, we have this one player, they play a million mains, right? Maybe if you can incorporate that somehow, that can be an asset, that can be a tool. And trust me, for the enemy team, you're going to drive them insane if you know how to do it.
It's like, what do you mean there's a tent?
Yeah,
it throws off any adaptation. So it's just really great to have that flexibility. We love flexibility in our teams here. Have your comps run. Here's like your 3 comps. All right, go, my Scarab. Fun. But we're going to turn over to the team that was actually able to take Splatoon White out of the bracket, and that was Grab and Go. Because, you know, they already did really well in Swiss, and then they were able to just go right through the bracket here, sweeping through it HGL Blue and Tamu White, and they only dropped a game to CSULB Black before meeting EAUCD Splatoon White, which, though, again, we talked about, those guys were great. And it was in grand finals. They went all the way to Game 5. None of these teams really wanted to let go of that victory, but it was going to be Grab and Go that took it home in the end in that grand final. That's considering that they came from Div 4 up to Div 2 for this.
Yeah.
One Div 4 without dropping a game, got moved directly to Div 2, like you just said, and took the winning team, an already very, very powerful team within Div 2, to Game 5, and they ended up winning it. So I feel as if we will be talking about Grab and Go a little bit later on more on this podcast here.
Indeed.
Almost sounds like 2 divs wasn't enough.
Yeah, we're going to be very fixated on that matchup in particular. But with that said, let's go ahead and wrap up our division recap by hopping over to Division 1. because their Swiss Group A was filled with a bunch of strong teams with a lot of CCA history. Leading the way was the VCU Big Fat Sea Cows, who had a 4-0 record in that Swiss stage, not dropping a single game and earning 3-0 victories over teams like Long Beach Gold, Splatlanders, and the reigning CCA League Season 5 champions, UCSD Esports Gold, who did have some major roster revisions there too. But nonetheless, speaking of UCSD is back. They have returned. They are ready to defend their throne, but they're going to have to do it without former captain CD Woomy, who did graduate this past June. So they had to retool their roster. Enda no longer in the picture as well. So Kazume coming up from Navy and bringing in Blaster as the newbie, the rookie. That's going to be an interesting dynamic for UCSD Gold. And they did start out pretty strong, as they did have some pretty tight sets though against the Towson Tigerfish, Splatlanders, and old rivals Banana Split before finally getting shut down by, I believe it was VCU in that Swiss bracket. So it was, pretty good there altogether. And they were toe and toe with Death Roll, who also made their circuit debut with new addition here, Nico Chico. Shiny, I know that's gonna be a name that rings a bell for you.
I was gonna say, whoa, when I recognize a name, that's gotta be something. That's impressive.
Yes.
Ooh.
So the University of Florida joins the ARBS race by adding a very prominent player, and they definitely fell a little bit short of their goals this time around. I believe they ended up losing in the first round of the bracket stage. But nonetheless, this is definitely not the last that we will see of Death Roll, because they were intimidating before. They are going to be lethal now, once they can kind of figure out, how does this roster blend together. Nonetheless, rounding out that top 8, we had Splatlanders, Long Beach Gold, Surging Sea, who had moved up from Division 2 to Division 1, and the Husky Splatsville Knights Violet, all going 2-2. Over in Group B, we did see the UCF Knights, formerly known as the Night Sharks, who now have university recognition, so congrats to them. They went 4-0 in their Swiss group, and took on teams like Drexel and Arcaley to be able to run through that near perfectly on the Swiss stage. Old Bay Brigade was back as well. They went 3-1. Arcaley, defending their title from Qualifier 1, had a much smoother bracket this time. Instead of going 1-3, they did go 3-1. So they weren't trying to scrape and claw their way through. They definitely were a much more cohesive unit. And then lastly, we saw California Rollers, USF Splatoon Gold, Splat Scat Black, and then PSU Blue definitely struggled in this one, but they did make it to Top Cut with that 2-2 record. Oh boy, and that's just the Swiss stage. I mean, the bracket stage was even more chaotic here, because in Top Cut, it was just powerhouses all around. I mean, California Rollers versus Death Roll was the match I wish we got to saw on stream, but Arcaley and Splatlanders delivered nonetheless. But California Rollers and Death Roll, I mean, prominent players on either end. We had Chino from California Rollers and Nico Chico from Death Roll, with an amazing cast of supporting players on both those rosters. I mean, both teams just continued to retool and grow. So I'm so excited about both these rosters nonetheless. But PSU Blue, who came in second in Qualifier 1, bowed out early round 1 after losing to Banana Split. But this was definitely kind of just an opportunity for Banana Split to get their footing, because they also lost the key player in Abby from this off season. So, but they have definitely come back strong. They did beat Drexel to make it to the semifinals before finally losing to Big Fat Sea Cows, and Big Fat Sea Cows overthrowing Arcaley. Oh boy, all of that to say that the UCF Knights, though, did take down the VCU Big Fat Sea Cows in a thrilling 4-game set, whereas UCSD Esports Gold triumphed in their third place match to round out our top 3. Damn, that is just, there's so much going on in just Division 1 alone. I mean, I could ramble on forever. And one team that definitely I think we didn't really get a fair chance to see this time around was H-Town Rebels. Nasu, I'll throw it over to you real quick on your takeaway from, H-Town's run in Qualifier 2.
Yeah, H-Town coming in, they did great in Quali 1. They were able to make the brackets, and they were able to kind of get a little bit of experience there. And coming into Quali 2, they maybe missed a tiny step here or there, but this is a completely new roster for H-Town Rebels that we're bringing in. We have a little bit of a history with our players and what teams they go on, but I think, it's a team that's finding its footing. And once you get to Div 1, completely different from the other divisions. Here you have big names. Here you have teams that are making their names be heard. And I think, there's going to be a lot of teams that come in and out of Div 1 and are looking for that footing. And I think H-Town is right there. A lot of that is development through scrims, which, these teams have to sometimes fight tooth and nail to find those really good matches to improve. But I think with H-Town, they still have their heads up. They knew what they were coming into this semester. I know a lot of these teams know that they're at the highest level and that they're going to have weekends that just kind of go this way. So luckily they're not defeated. I know no UH team is ever defeated. And they're just going to keep trudging on. And it's great to see some new teams here in the bracket who are also kind of vying for those spots. These are very precious spots, even though it is a smaller div. Still, getting one of those positions significant, not just for the experience, for the notoriety, but also for those valuable top-end points.
Oh, absolutely. Very well said there. Div 1's going to be challenging no matter which way you shake it, and it's just going to continue to be opportunities to grow. But with that said, that does cover the entire recap of Qualifier 2. Again, so many different storylines, so many different things going on, but let's go ahead and move on, though, to our next segment, our Qualifier Best Clips discussion. So we do have a couple of clips to cover here. So first, I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to Shiny because I believe we have a Division 4 clip that we'll showcase here once I can pull that up.
Yes, indeed. The context for this one here, it's Division 4 Swiss Stage Round 4. VCU Spirality, versus DPU, a sincerest form of splattery. This is from the POV of Hacks from VCU. And I believe, David, if it is up here.
Let's go ahead and swap these things around.
Both clips are going to be seeing here, at least, are both really good. This is honestly some of the the description indeed being how to end overtime as fast as possible after a one down from our player here, Hacks, getting back in and getting 1, 2, and then 3, just barely missing the time to press splashdown to instantly cap zone, still the 3 down on the zone, which is something that we just love to see in general. Just a fantastic way to absolutely end overtime as fast as possible, securing a win for VCU Spirality there.
Awesome.
We love to see it.
Yes.
All right, and we'll throw it over to our second clip here, Fufu.
Indeed. Again, these are both going to be Discord submission clips. It's always going to be very fun to see here. This is from Div 2, the Swiss Stage Round 4. It's WPI Bristol Workers Union Navarre. Goodness. Navarre. Versus Champlain Cerulean. Cerulean. Pronunciations. Y'all are breaking my brain here. But this is from the view of Lara from Champlain I cannot keep having this conversation, bro. Cerulean and versus WPI Gris co-workers. So the description for this one is dualies for the win, and if I have seen this correctly, it is going to be a splash zone play that kills 3 players, including the Rainmaker, stopping that overtime right then there, ending the game.
Timing is everything for specials at the end, and let me tell you, after playing with a certain teammate here of DRF, and also playing with DRF himself, if I have one more time where my teammate pops special early, I will break them like dry spaghetti. So seeing a well-timed splash in a clip. Sorry to interrupt here. This is clip after all. If I see one more wrong time special in overtime, it'll be done. That being said, we love to see it happen out here. The correct timing of specials being used in overtime.
Oh no! Honestly, definitely some great analysis there. And then I know Shiny and Fufu, you each had a clip that you wanted to share from your commentary as well. So I believe this first one is from Shiny. So I'll go ahead and play it back. And Shiny, go ahead and just give us the breakdown of what stood out to you in this clip as I hit play now.
Sure. So one thing that I like to talk about, especially while I do my coaching, is team play. And another thing is specifically how to use specials in a retake. Here we have Crab and Go with an anchorless comp. The thing that I love so much about this specifically was how all the teammates play together here. The whale coming out here to chip them, that's fine here. But specifically the splashdown and the bomb combo. Like, I'm not sure if you can run it back here real quick. Splatoon happens so quickly. But the thing that I loved most about this clip in particular is the fact that it's the use of staggered specials on a retake here. They don't have any way to beat, the range of Splatoon White. So the whale come out to move people. The splashdown coming in, breaking the bubble, and the crab moving people, someone out, also getting a kill there. The two pushing on left side over here, getting a kill. The bomb coming out from top mid, getting the other splat, and effectively getting a delayed wipeout there with the strikes to actually submit the members of Crab and Go, allowing them to take their advantage over here in this Splat Zone Umami game. It may seem mundane, and then the strikes over here coming out from S, who we will be talking with later on today. Here, I may think. I just loved the way that those specials were staggered out, the way that they were able to impose their influence on a team that had more range, that had already a crab to contest them there too.
They were able to answer. They had specials to answer with their specials, and then extra specials on top, like the splashdown to answer to that player and the bubble. And they were able to take the crab out or let the crab finish in the process. And then they were able to take their specials even further and add more space. That was just a clean retake.
Absolutely, not just the special play too, but the crossfire. The times that those who did not have specials were comboing with those who did have specials, and the bombs throwing out to pincer other angles. It is just so Splatoon 3. Splatoon 2 was a game of we wait for armor, we wait for missiles. Okay, go, we pop them at the same time. But Splatoon 3, those specials get value when they're staggered, like we saw there. Also, we saw 3 strikes in that clip there. Inside of 30 seconds, there were 3 strikes being thrown.
That's crazy.
Triple link strike. So that was just my takeaway. That was my favorite clip, I believe. That was actually game 5 of Splatoon White versus Crab and Go.
It was 4.
Five. 4. You're
wait.
No, that
was 4.
This is 4.
That's 5.
Here is game 4. So let's actually transition there. Fufu, let me go ahead and hit play on this one, and let's walk through this one from game 4, and you tell me what stood out to you here.
Indeed, right here. First off, were these strikes from Cholo Loco, because the strikes were able to get a kill. They were there to make space for their teammates, and they continued to clear this top area here, continue to slog, continue to put more pain. And even though their teammate went down, they still continue to play around that tower and get that pain. And unfortunately, they were able to get the lead here, get some more points on the board, but unfortunately, those 2 strikes that weren't able to land where they were supposed to obviously ended the clip there. But those first moments here, these strikes to set their teammates up to force Splatoon White in a bad position and allow this tower to continue moving. It was just a really good use of space and a really good use of specials to move their team forward to that lead. So everything about that was just chef's kiss. And this was game 4. This is what brought them to game 5.
Yes, this was actually the winning push that Crab and Go had here. And if I could actually elaborate on this a little bit more here too, Splatoon roles are dynamic. You may be a slosher, which does not mean you're only a slayer. I think this is an excellent example of frontline anchoring. It's funny to say here, but if you think about it here, right? Making the space for your teammates to push up, riding the tower, being able to crossfire your teammates. That's something that an anchor does. It holds down the fort, especially this 1v1 that we see here. A skillful win there. And the strikes again to cement their lead here. This was just some fantastic use of frontline anchoring. And I too, as well, loved the way that they were able to play around the team and also that play there, cementing the lead, pushing Crab and Go to game 5 of the Division 2 qualifiers.
Munchable. We munch on these clips.
Munchable.
I love these clips. I love you guys brought them up. I think they highlight some of the great things that we'll be talking about with Crab and Go, about how the team works, about how they play with each other with those specials and with the comp that they have, really showing off their skill set and what they have to offer. Great. I love it. I love those clips. Those in specific.
That's
absolutely.
And I've never heard of anyone really saying frontline anchoring. Like it's such an oxymoron. Like it's it's fascinating, but it really gets your gears turning of like, yeah, like how dynamic, things really are in Splatoon. I mean, Shiny, the way that we've played with each other, we have to be pretty dynamic too. But it's such a
Absolutely. Yeah.
fascinating way to put it into words.
Listen, I mean, just as a little bit of a little mini coaching session here, I believe that there are positions and then there are roles. Frontline, midline, backline, that's your position. And Slayer, skirmisher, support, anchor, that's your role. They can be mixed around. You could have midline anchors, or you could have a backline slayer if you play a charger. Because charger's a slayer, not an anchor. Depending. It's dynamic. It's dynamic.
Wait.
Exactly. And there's moments when you can become an anchor, moments when you can become a slayer. Like, yeah, I just think that was an awesome, showcase of exactly how you can go from a frontline slayer to a frontline anchor, and then right back again.
Yeah, you can play a little whimsical with just about any role you play.
Absolutely.
Certainly. Well, now let's go ahead and thank you both so much. That was such a good discussion there of everything that we saw. And thank you both. You're both such fantastic analysts. So
Of course.
I appreciate you sharing a piece of your brain with us for this game. But now let's go ahead and proceed on with the last thing here, and what a lot of folks have been waiting for, and that is a chat with Crab and Go. We do have S on the line here, so let's go ahead and bring S into the VC, and I will go ahead and transition here. So first of all, I mean, Nasu, you've been here, but welcome, Nasu and S. S, I heard that you were coming from an event. How is it going?
It's going all right. Just a bit tired is all, but we're good. We're good.
What kind of event were you coming from? What did we miss out
on? So I believe it's every other Thursday. Our club, our Splatoon club, has just like a general get together Splatoon gaming session, and awesome. I promised to be there for a little bit, but yeah, I had to cut it short and come over here.
Someone had to rep for Anarchy at the arcade.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. We do greatly appreciate you taking time to chat with us alongside Nasu here. So there is a lot to cover because the University of Houston has been active here at the CCA for some time. All the way back to season 2 of the CCA League, I believe. Wow. And then in the past year, I mean, it seems like things have just exploded at the University of Houston. You all went from 1 team to 4 in a hurry. And now all of your teams have been really making a name for themselves. And honestly, I think it's safe to say that Crab and Go has been the biggest storyline of the CCA circuit so far, at least in my humble opinion here. And you all, I mean, won Qualifier 4 without dropping a single game. Moved up to Division 2 in Qualifier 2, and then you became the first team to win 2 different qualifier brackets in 2 divisions, and you'll probably be the only team to jump 2 divisions in one go. So nonetheless, I mean, welcome. I figured I'd give that whole spiel introduction. So let's do maybe some formal introductions here real quick. So could you both just introduce yourselves and explain what your role is or position is within the University of Houston Splatoon programs and/or Crab and Go? Nasu, we'll start with you.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Nasu. I'm currently team manager for Crab and Go. I've also actually played for them. I played for them for a little bit during Quali 2. I'm president of Splatoon at UH, the Splatoon club at the University of Houston, along with helping out coaching, with event planning, with other team managements, a lot of responsibilities, wear a lot of hats. I used to be a commentator for the CCA and have been on multiple teams. And I'm supposed to be retired, but still here. So, yeah.
Perfect. I think your mic also might be you're fading in and out a little bit, just a tad. So just as a heads up there.
Trying to fix it.
All good. S, please introduce yourself.
All right. Howdy. My name is S. I am the treasurer for Splatoon at UH. I have been on several teams. I don't even know how many teams. I've been on a lot of teams for UH, and currently I am team captain for Crab and Go.
Awesome. Well, thank you both again so much for joining us. So I guess let's just start here. So like, how long have each of you been a part of the University of Houston Splatoon program?
Me personally, I've been here for, I think it's been a while now. It's been a few semesters. I joined, I believe, a semester after S. Actually, back when Dio was running the show. I know some of y'all might be familiar with him. He's got to shout him out while we're here. Dio is the reason why there is Splatoon at UH. We wouldn't be here without him. I've been here since before Splatoon at UH was actually a thing. We actually used to be part of our university's esports program. But we have moved on to become our own club, our own independent organization, which has allowed us to explode in our number of teams. And it's been a real journey doing a lot of different things. I've been here for a while. I've been trudging along.
Awesome.
Right. I've been part of the Splatoon scene, well, not scene, but like Splatoon at UH scene since I think around 2021. I believe that's when season 2 was. But yeah, I've been participating since then, and as Nasu said, way back when Dia was in charge, and then we made our own little club, and then things kind of grew from there.
Damn, that is so cool. Well, so I guess let's talk about the program itself real quick. So could you talk a little bit about how the program has, I guess, changed a bit since you both first joined, and the role it now plays, at your university in the larger collegiate scene. So you guys said that you started with like your esports and it kind of broke off there a little bit. So yeah, how has the program evolved?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a real journey to say the least. We started as part of UH Esports, UH Gaming, and we just found that we wanted, and they're great, they're an awesome organization that really helped us get our start. But we felt like we wanted to kind of break out and we wanted to do something bigger at our university and have an impact for the Splatoon community, which at first it was a small group, maybe 8 of us, right? They were like, oh, we know each other. I saw you play Splatoon at the rec once, something like that. And then once we decided to come together and take on the crazy journey of starting a club, which is insanity, especially when you do it in like 2 weeks, we found out that there was more than 8 people at the university, maybe close to 150 people that play Splatoon at a university. So things exploded really, really quickly, but that also allowed us to explore things, which, when it was just 8 people in a room, 8 people, VOD reviewing or whatever, it was like, oh, imagine if one day we do this. Oh, it would be so funny if one day we do this. And now we can proudly say that those dreams, a lot of them have become reality, whether it be having a presence on campus that people can easily find for Splatoon, a resource for kind of Nintendo-minded people, being able to say that you have a program that's won something for your university has been an amazing achievement for us this semester. And being able to do, as I said, our own thing and express ourselves has really been, I think, the climb that Splatoon at UH has been able to take on as a project. I don't know if S has anything else to add to that
S, if you have
spiel.
anything to add.
I think that was pretty thorough. Yeah, definitely things starting to grow a lot more the moment we became our own club. I have heard from several of our club members that the reason they found out is because we started advertising as our own separate organization. So yeah, it was very nice to be able to split up and do our own thing, and it led to this. So it's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. All right. Well, and then I know that as part of as part of your growth, UH has sort of developed a habit of mixing up players, to form new teams each semester. So how do you all go about, assigning folks to teams? Because S, you're a CCA veteran, so how did you kind of get lumped in with Crab and Go with a group of newer competitive players, and how does that go for the rest of the teams as well?
So far, well, not so far. Yeah, so far. Our director of competition, Dio, Sambar, has been in charge of basically directing who would go where. And I just so happened to end up with a group of newer players this semester. Honestly, I had no idea what to expect going in, but pleasantly surprised with the turnout.
So we have to dissect the probable mess that is Dio's mind to get that answer.
Basically,
That's gonna be a hard ask. Yeah,
Just
but
prime.
oh, we need like a full lobotomy or something. Like dedicated to science. We need to take that to a laboratory. Like
An experiment of all time.
yes. But yeah, we do have a little bit of reputation that we've built up with kind of the mixture in teams and all that. That's part of our kind of process with being able to unlock a bigger pool of players. We've been able to run tryouts in different ways. We've actually experimented the last 2 semesters. And me being president, I've been able to influence that a little bit. I am a very competitive person. I love the competitive side, so luckily I have other officers like S that help me with the social side. But I mean, one of my goals and one of our goals as a club has been really to develop the competitive side. We know we have all these amazing players, and whether we have to mix them up, whether we have to put one person here, one person there, our goal has always been to make the best possible team. So we do appreciate synergy a lot, and that's kind of our next step on building our teams. But currently, we just want to win, and we're playing Win Splatoon, and we want to be playing Win. That's where our team roster idea comes from.
Okay, that's completely fair. So I guess did the circuit format play a factor, or as far as you're aware, did the circuit format play a factor in these current rosters?
Yes. The circuit format, you have a different point system. You have a different longevity of time. And at least for the committee of us that worked on making the teams and drafting it, we did take that into consideration. You no longer have the format where every week's a little chaotic, where sometimes you have to commit to certain things or you have to make sporadic changes. Instead, now you have those really important developmental 2 weeks where you can make changes to the roster, you can make changes to the composition. And so that changed how we looked at things. And also gave us the opportunity to start thinking, if we can really hit on these teams, can we have continuity with them? Like, I bet not a surprise that you'll probably see Crab and Go next semester because this format gives itself to it. Right? At least the way that we see it in our lens. In the previous format, you want to build the best team that you have at the moment. Now, with the qualifier system, going into longer stints, fighting for those points that are not temporary, but more longer term, we did want to build teams built for the future more so than before.
Oh, fascinating! That honestly, a fantastic answer there. Because yeah, that's honestly something that I don't think we've specifically considered when designing the circuit format, but it's kind of a really cool unintentional consequence of the format change too. So thank you for enlightening us on that as well. I don't know if you had anything else to add on to that point in particular though.
No, I think Nasu has been very thorough about it. The only thing we had to consider more was just time and making sure everyone had the time to do circuits. Other than that, not so much. No.
Okay, totally fair. See, I'll go ahead and hand this next question off to Fufu though. Let's talk about the circuit so far.
Yeah. So I want to ask if you could talk a little bit about your team's thoughts and expectations for the semester with the circuit and what's kind of different to approaching the circuit compared to the league.
Do you want to start with this one, S?
Sure, I got it. Well, everyone who's playing with me is new, so it's more so just really is just time commitment, trying to get everyone together. So far, it has what is it? Playing with all these different teams, with such a large number of teams, has allowed us to meet a lot more people, which means a lot of different opponents to scrim, which I have appreciated a lot with the circuit format. But yeah, so far it's mostly just been just time management, unfortunately. Just a bunch of busy college students.
Yeah,
Completely fair.
schedules are always the worst bit. It's just like we're juggling this. At this point, we're just like trying to
Oh.
schedule a D&D session.
You said it. Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
God for in-house scrims. Ever since we've had so many teams, I love scrims, being able to have that flexibility with other people at your university. That's
Mm-hmm. Yes, I can 100% speak to that. During my time at UCSD, we had enough folks that we were like doing in-house scrims. Like that was just that made things so nice because especially being on the West Coast, we could never find scrims. So whenever
right.
you get, like 10 people plus that go to the same college, wow, you're all conveniently on mostly the same, schedule, same case, somewhat chaotic schedule. So it makes it so much easier.
Yeah, I mean, it's great, right? Being able to have that flexibility. Also, kind of with managing those expectations, it's actually been an interesting experiment with the new division system and dynamic divs as well. For example, we've been able, Crab and Go has been able to consider different scrim options in house depending on how we've moved. First, looking at maybe some of our lower division teams going up against them, and we very quickly found out that there might be a discrepancy in the seeding. And then moving up and maybe looking at our higher team like H Town, that's been interesting, and it's helped us get a good gauge of where we are in the new division system. It helped us manage our expectations, and we've been very realistic about things. I think it's really cool that a lot of the people that we have on our team um, at Splatoon at UH, we have a lot of experience from different games and different actual sports and how those leagues work. And being able to kind of manage expectations for a qualifier has been something important for me when I talk to teams, talking about how development happens from quali to quali. There's evolution between that. I've always kind of told Crab and Go, hey, expect this. We're going in for this. And they've not failed to shatter my expectations. But yeah, it's a lot more dynamic now.
Speaking of flexibility, and like that was being talked about a lot here. Just like staying on the topic here of the circuit, y'all were placed in Division 4 for circuit qualifier number 1, which we now understand is a great understatement of the skill, which you guys can actually perform that. Regardless of that, could you talk about what you learned? I think this goes more towards S here. What you learned about your experience from the first qualifier and how it helped you in this qualifier and how you maybe will perceive will help you and your teammates in the future as well.
Right. So, aside from meeting a lot of cool people that we can talk to and we can scrim to from time to time, I think it definitely helped that it was our first experience. We all just sort of started to understand each other better. Of course, we're all new. We all haven't really met each other outside of our team. So even if it was a little under our skill cap, it did help us bond. It helped us learn how we play off of each other. It allowed us to see what we were missing in terms of comms or in terms of working together and things of that sort. It was honestly very helpful, despite seating. I honestly I'm very thankful for that experience. It's been helpful.
I'm just so happy to
Wondering.
hear that. I really am.
I'm wondering. We sent y'all a memo that this was the junior varsity team. Where did that go?
I honestly think that because there was 100 and some teams that were getting seeded, it just was it was you guys just got lucky, and it was the one thing that slipped under our noses, where we were trying to move and shift a bunch of things, and then it just completely went right over our heads. So I will completely own up to that. That was we dropped the ball on that qualifier 1 seeding. We saw very specific things, and we overlooked the specific team designations when we reached Crab and Go in particular. But nonetheless, I mean, in a way, maybe it was a blessing in disguise.
No,
So
for sure. Yeah. I mean, it was a little surprising whenever we got uh, the seeding come out when we saw that Crab and Go was the lowest seeded team.
yeah.
But I think it did help. Like once we got that seed, we did recognize like we should be to put it nicely, but in sports term, beating these teams. And once we went in and once we went the distance, right? That is really fundamental for new teams, and that's great that the CCA has a division for exactly that purpose, letting the developmental teams and the new teams start over at the bottom. That's been huge for us as we've evolved as a team. Being able to have that experience, being able to have that time, really, in actual tournament in those lower divs has helped, and it helped us know how to navigate our feelings, our kind of experience, our flow throughout the second qualifier as well. And now that we had a pretty easy Div 4 run, going into that Div 2 run, that did challenge us a bit. That did reveal things to us, and it showed us things that we're going to have to deal with during a tournament. That's going to be fundamental as we continue to higher and higher.
Yeah, very, very well said. So yeah, again, we'll load up to it. That was completely our overlook. But hey, that's the beauty of the dynamic division system. So if you were put in the wrong division, go and prove it, and then we'll fix it again for the next qualifier. You're not stuck there for 10 weeks like you would be in the league. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and shift our focus to Division 2 because there's a lot to dissect here. Crab and Go went 3-1 in the Swiss stage, won over notable teams such as Long Beach Black, WPI Grizz Co-workers Union Nouveau, and RIT Orange Kois, and then losing to Coyotes Black.
We scrimmaged it. We scrimmaged it. We had to scrimmage.
That's the correct response, by the way.
But then even after that, went all the way to the finals, where you took on EAUCD Splatoon White, took them to a Game 5, and pulled off the victory. So can you talk a little bit about what the Division 2 experience was like in this run, and what were the expectations coming into Qualifier 2, knowing that you proved yourself in Div 4, you're gonna get a nice bump up, to where you probably should be. We'll go with US.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Not gonna lie, going into it, a little terrifying. We already have a team in Div 2, Bad to the Barnacle, and I've seen how much they've practiced and how much they've trained to get to the point that they're at, and I was terrified because I was thinking, oh, we're a newer team, and Bad to the Barnacle has a lot more experience, but pleasantly surprised. Things went very well. Definitely nerve-wracking. Nasu had to cover for me because I wasn't even supposed to play this qualifier, but I managed to get finish my responsibilities early enough that I was able to participate. So very much appreciate Nasu saving me there.
Yeah, it was a little Mickey Mouse at times. The original plan was I was supposed to fill in for S the whole tournament, which thank God that didn't happen because I think without her, she's such an important part of the team. She is the spearhead, kind of mentally for that team. I think without us, you don't see that second championship. And so hopped off the jet, got straight on the Switch, crazy, ridiculous. Going into that. Oh yeah, also in the finals, I don't know if I think I have the logs. We actually had to play a match without audio. Like our Discord died in in the Houston area for like a whole match.
No way.
I'm a little frustrated because that's so. But yeah, like working through that Div 2 experience for me is gratifying getting to play. I didn't expect to play this semester. But the expectation was a little bit lower. We recognized no team has ever gone up to divisions. This is the big CCA experiment now. So we came in level-headed, and I'm so fortunate that everybody on this team super realistic. They all have great mental, and they're like, yeah, we're probably not going to go in and dominate like we did. And I've talked a lot to them about kind of the new system and points, and we're very focused on what's going to come at the end of the semester. We're really excited for that. And so, the expectation was come in, get some good points, and really make it happen. So, once we go in and we're one match off of getting maximum points for the weekend, it was exciting and exhilarating and a lot of emotions. But I do think that the kind of challenge was nice, and it was really interesting and managing new feelings I haven't felt before.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
No, I hear you. I also want to continue on here. You faced CSULB Black twice in the first time. Twice, well, I guess the first time in the Swiss stage. With y'all winning a nice 3-0, and then again in Top Cut where you took them to a game 3. What was it like facing them like first in the Swiss stage and then again in bracket? What was your mentality? What was going through y'all's heads there?
Yes, ULB Black. I think the
I
mentality
could
there.
definitely. Oh, wait, you want me to cover?
Yeah, go for it. I was just gonna say, I
Alright.
think you had to remind them what happened in scrims. But go
Oh my god, Nasu. Uh, honestly, I really enjoyed playing them the second time. I could feel their energy that they did not want to go down, and that I think that's why they took us to a game 3. They definitely wanted to push against us, and I like that. I like that energy of them trying to, knock us down. It was good. I really appreciate it. I think as I previously mentioned, I was not supposed to play. I was very tired. I was running on like 3 hours of sleep. I think you could see that I wasn't doing as great as I would normally be doing, but still pulled it out somehow.
check S's stats from last season. That's all I gotta say. check her girly pop stats.
Don't do that.
It goes wild. It
Oh
goes
my
wild.
god.
I do think that one of the hardest things to do in a tournament is to beat the same team twice. So it can be very challenging. So when you see them a second time, you're like, okay, here we go again. Even if you did beat them the first time, like there's a sense of confidence, but also like shoot, like we already did this. Like we have to do this again. But nonetheless, I mean, you guys pulled it out, so kudos to you there. I mean, and like you said, like Long Beach Black does have a reputation of just being such a high energy team. Like I've gotten the privilege to see that in person, and while this is almost an entirely new roster from what they had last academic year, I could tell that it's the mentality is the same. So kudos to Long Beach Black there, because yeah, they're just. I don't know. Their mental is just in another like planet. It's just fantastic what they're able to do.
Absolutely. We love teams that just hold that mentality, that give everyone a challenge. We just chef's kiss. Speaking of games, actually, your guys' team comp doesn't change very much. You guys stick between T-Tech 52 and Bucket, with Aiko being the only one to switch between the bow of or the Nautilus here. What's the reason for that? Is it like just comfort and like favorite weapons, or is it play styles? I'm curious.
Right, so I believe aside from Aiko, I think all of us are basically one tricks. So going into tryouts, we all just played our favorites, what we were comfortable with, and that's just what we stuck with. Originally, believe Aiko was playing ZF sniper, so it would have been triple try strikes. We were not able to have that, so that's the only reason that Aiko swaps off between what is it, Stringer and Nautilus.
Yep.
It was just so we could have some variety, because triple strikes would have been a bit too much.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
7 to
mostly
the
just comfort. Sorry.
Yeah, that's more than fair. Oh, 7 to the ZF. I'm very Charger biased personally. Did you guys ever consider Splat Charger? Even though it's not like high in the meta. That said.
We considered it. I believe Aiko tried it out for maybe one scrim. But I think Aiko just wasn't a fan of vacuum, and preferred the more aggressive specials and the more aggressive weapon that she could use with the Stringer and the Nautilus.
Fair enough. To be
Makes sense.
honest.
I was gonna say, elephant in the room, pencil, obviously being a very strong weapon pick right there on a comp that does not have any soda. But after what you're saying, I'm sensing that Aiko is a fan of their aggression. And
Yes,
I
a
wish
very,
more people played pencil as aggressively as they could. But yeah, sorry, go on.
Oh, apologies. Yeah, I believe we brought it up, and the team was basically just, we're so aggressive and pushing so much that it would probably be for the best if we just went for it, and it worked out. So,
Yeah.
even without the cooler.
Absolutely. Cooler is not necessary. It's a nice buff, sure, but like the way that y'all played, especially with the umami clip that I broke down earlier, the anchorless retake, I love to see it. It looks fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Thank
The
you.
composition.
I am curious here. As before stated, you took down, Splatoon White. Or I guess you took Splatoon White to a game 5, which was intense, taking it to overtime and almost giving the lead, but clutching up at the end there. What was the reaction in the VC? Going from Div 4 winners to that's respectable to Div 2 winners. How did people react in the moments following your victory? I gotta know.
I will give my reaction and then I will allow Nasu to talk about it more because unfortunately, as I already said, I was running on 3 hours of sleep. At that point, I was ready to crash. As excited as I was very tired and I was
Yes.
not paying as much attention. Everyone else seemed very, very excited though.
It was, yeah, it was a lot. I mean, I was very appreciative that I actually got to play a role in this one, but I mean, I cried a little bit on this mouse pad right here. It is not just player, and I've been around the block for Splatoon, not just as a manager, but maybe even as a president. Getting to see one of those goals, one of those accomplishments become a reality means so much. And I'm just so extremely proud of the team and what they've been able to accomplish and how they've been able to represent us. Giving us even the opportunity to be here on this podcast was something that UH wasn't sure if we were ever going to get that name recognition. So, like, all of that weighing on me at the moment was a lot. And doing it twice is ridiculous. The fashion that it was done, the context behind it. And I think for the second one, it was mainly disbelief. For the first one, everyone was like, no way, that just happened. It was celebration and it was happiness and cheering. The second one was just what just happened. And I got to talk with Choco Loco today. I was treating him a little bit because hey, winner's gonna win. And
Thanks. Yeah, good respect.
I was talking to him and I was like, has it hit you yet? And he was like, honestly, no. And I told him it hasn't hit me either. Like, it's been days now, and it's hard to believe. The first one, the next morning, I woke up and I was like, I have won in some sort of esport. I have a title, even as team manager.
Yeah.
And then now, like, I still can't believe it. I still find it hard to recognize. But I mean, the way that everything's happened has been a roller coaster. Even the path going up to that finals match, we're coming in as arguably one of the worst seeds that you can get in gaming. You get that middle seed, that 7, 6, 8 seed, depends on what bracket you're working with. That's probably the worst seed because you're going up against the closest competition. If you're going up against if you're starting down as like a 16th seed, something like that, you get that underdog momentum. You can push through. You have teams that have been battered already. If you're the first seed, well, obviously you have the easiest path. If you're coming in the middle, you have dog fights back to back to back to back. And then going up against the first seed to finish everything out, like, honestly, for us, the plan there was don't think about it, just go. But it's insanity. I mean, breaking the numbers down. I'm a numbers guy. Got my math minor, got my degree already. Like, it's looking at it on paper doesn't enter my mind yet.
Yeah, shout out to the stats again. That page of the CCA has. Oh, me too. I'm a numbers person as well.
Love our stats. And you guys did go. It's already the disbelief. It's just that you said it didn't hit you yet. But looking forward, regardless, because we still have more qualifiers coming up. There's a lot of eyes on you guys, and do you guys have the opinion of, hey, Div 2 looks good, or are you guys going to be looking at Div 1 and possibly join with your guys' sister team?
I know S has
I
feelings
can
about
talk
that.
about it first. Honestly,
This your
Div
chance to
2
petition
feels
it.
very comfortable,
Yes.
but I'm always open to a challenge. Grab and Go is always open to a challenge. I'm down to see how it goes in Div 1, and hey, if it doesn't go that well, it's fine. We can come back down to Div 2. No shame in that. But, more than willing to try. More than willing to see how that goes.
I love that mentality. It's just, a challenge is a challenge. Go away scared, we go, and we send it full force. I love that.
Could have said it better myself.
I'll tack on another question here. Can you beat the H-Town Rebels? How close are the two teams? If you had to take a guess.
We'll find out in scripts.
Be honest.
I'm not here to play favorites, but I'm not here to play favorites. But I think those two teams are very close. They're both coming into very similar situations where you have two teams that are comprised of mainly new players who haven't competed as part of our program and as part of our development system yet. And you have both teams that are led by very strong-minded veterans. You have S on this team, on Grab and Go, and you have Kennedy coming in for H-Town Rebels. And I think both teams are on a very, very similar trajectory in terms of their development. So I think, again, let's go in-house scrims. But being able to pit those two teams against each other is going to be very revealing for us. It's going to show a lot about where we have to improve and what we have to do.
I think it's also just a good chance to form a friendly rivalry between your two teams, constantly pushing each other to new limits as well.
Nothing says competition like rivalry.
Yeah, no, we've done that with previous teams. Like last semester, we had Bad to the Barnacle and Girly Pops, who were... Yeah, me and S were both on that team. I led that one, and that was a fun ride. But with our junior varsity teams, we tend to a little bit, right, us?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say that's good. Girly Pops was so good.
I love the name. I love that name so much.
UH always has some good branding. Obviously I love having consistent brands, but if you are gonna be changing up your name, you need to make it good, and at least UH has that box checked off. So you all get a pass because at least your branding is fun every time.
Banger after banger after banger.
Oh, I gotta agree. Well, hey, last questions here before wrapping up. I gotta say, this is important here. What character do you pick when you play Mario Party? And are you guys going to play the new Mario Party Jamboree? S, you first.
Me first? All right. I believe other members of the team are going to be getting the game, so I have to join them, obviously.
Yes, sir. What character?
And character, it's always Yoshi. Always
yes,
Yoshi.
Sir.
Face and real.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Nasu, what about yourself?
I
don't know if I'm gonna get the game. It might depend on my siblings, see if they want to play a bit of it. But my go-to is Waluigi. I like my lanky boy. He's got that reach, that helps in the minigame. Hey, and he's a bit taller than me. I'm what's it called? Sure. According to the government, I'm 6'2". Whoa. That's a strong word. One could look at me and say I'm short. One could look at me and say I'm short, but I don't know why, sometimes mistakes happen through the pipeline, and legally I'm not that short. But no, we got that lanky figure. I'm wearing a sweater right now, but I got the lanky build.
Sure, yeah.
So
I get you.
Yeah, we scrawny.
Yeah, so I feel like I can relate, and also that reach is good.
So about
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Well, Mario
that
Party
is fantastic.
Just in time to ruin all momentum as you
destroy our team chemistry.
Yeah,
it's over.
You'll hate each other by the end of the month. Speed run.
Speed running enemies are yeah.
Well, you know what? Just for the hell of it, Shiny Fufu, what's your take? What characters are you all playing?
Let me tell you something. I didn't even know there was a new Mario Party release yet. Mario Party Jamboree? I didn't know until y'all mentioned it.
That's been the game that Nintendo's been pushing the most the past month.
Not me though. Stay safe. Not me. Stay safe.
What character do you play in that case usually?
Probably Luigi, probably. Luigi's my go-to. Inkling was my go-to Mario Kart, but Luigi, OG. I love me my
Gotcha.
Luigi, bro.
Myself, I'm a Rosalina or Waluigi enjoyer as well.
My beast.
Because you got the class, and then you gotta have Luigi or Waluigi. Pardon me.
Luigi to my Waluigi, bro?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got Lanky Boys, is all I'm saying. We got just
Exactly.
chaos incarnate, and he has that rose, and he looks so fly. And then again, Rosa's Rosa. Like, who doesn't love the Rosalina?
That is
How
fair.
about yourself, David? End us off here.
I am so depending because I know it's not in every Mario Party game. But whenever Boo is an option, I absolutely will play Boo.
An
That is
undead fiend. I like it.
my first preference in a Mario Party game. I don't know why. I played Boo back in Mario Party 6, I think it was. So that was the character I always usually played. But nonetheless, we'll have to see if we could get a Mario Party game going at some point.
Oh no!
CCA
Mario Party.
Well, we
Alright, Rich
gotta
calls
live
me
stream
media,
the Mario Party session at the next meeting in 2 weeks, right?
This will be made. That's just going to be the title of the stream.
It will certainly
will
be
be
an
big.
event.
Curses will be broken.
S and Nasu, thank you both so much for joining us today, and
Thank you
congrats
both.
on everything the University of Houston has going for it. Please take a second and go ahead and plug yourselves or anything you would like. How can we wrap this one up for you all?
You go first, S.
I guess I can go first. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us. Make sure to follow Splatoon at UH on all socials. Follow us, check out our Discord server, of course, and if you want to find me, I am LPSvsS pretty much everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, Nasu, but I want to take this time to really thank everyone who's gotten us here. I want to thank CCA for giving us the chance to represent the University of Houston and really give us this season to put ourselves on the map. I want to thank people like Dio who have built the club up, all of our wonderful officers that we have back home at the university, our scrim partners, people like Bobblehat, people like CSU, SB who have let us improve. And I just really want to put the name of the University of Houston, more importantly, put the name of Splatoon at UH out there. And I want to let people know that we're coming and we're here and we're not hard to find. And we want to keep going. We want to ride the wave, and see you at the end of the season. We'll be there.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for joining us. We are eager to see where Crab and Go and the rest of the University of Houston teams go throughout the rest of the circuit
Peek
and
and go.
into the spring as well. So it's been a fun storyline so far, and I know that this arc is not over yet. So let's see what the ending has in store for you all. So thank you both, and we'll go ahead and catch you all again in the future. Right. Well, that was S and Nasu from the University of Houston. I mean, just fantastic getting to speak with them, Shiny and Fufu. Some great insights there into just all of the complex, team management and all the teams, and then like just everything that Crab and Go has had going for it. Just fantastic getting to speak with both of them.
Absolutely. One thing that actually I thought was very funny here, Fufu mentioned something about like, nice mentality. I was gonna say that. I really do appreciate their mentality. Like it is shocking. First off, winning an event, then going 2 divisions, and then proceeding to win that event, and who knows where they can go in the future. So as long as they have a very solid mentality, which they very much do, as we've proven already in this podcast here, just excited to see where they go. I'll be watching them, that's for sure. I'll be back on CCA here.
All eyes on Crab and Go here.
Yes.
That makes sense. I'm so excited. Like, we've already seen their run, their jump. They are going full steam ahead and showing no signs of stopping. We heard them. Hey, they want a bit of a challenge. So I'm just saying.
They're coming. They said it themselves.
True. So we'll have to see. So it's gonna have to go over to the Cedars to see. You know, first of all, they need to sign up for Qualifier 3, and then once we get them there, we'll see where we can put them. But I would love to see how they can hang with some of the biggest, baddest teams that the CCA has to offer.
Absolutely, yes.
Hey, their story is not over just yet. So the sky's the limit, and I don't know. I'm so excited. They've quickly evolved to be one of my favorite teams so far.
They were just so fun. They were so fun, dude.
Absolutely.
Well, Fufu, Shiny, thank you both so much for joining me. Let's go ahead and start to wrap this episode up. Thank you to everyone watching the podcast today. In terms of things that are upcoming for the CCA Circuit Qualifier 3 is going to be next Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. The deadline to sign up, per usual, is Thursday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Please, please, please let this break the habit of your typical college ways. Sign up early. Do not wait until 11:59 to get that submission in.
Unless
I gotta submit an assignment tonight. You reminded me.
Me too. What is it?
As you were saying, David.
Anyways, the podcast episode 27 will be next Thursday night, and it will be a preview of Qualifier 3 since it will be right on the cusp of that Thursday night deadline. So be sure to join in to learn more about who's playing in Qualifier 3. And then lastly, the Collegiate Scrim Circuit has upcoming events, as we had mentioned, dual enrollment coming up this Saturday, and then a traditional Collegiate Scrim Circuit on the following Monday. So head on over to their server for more information. Shiny, Fufu, again, thank you so much for joining us on the mic this past weekend and joining me on the podcast today. Go ahead and plug yourselves. Where can the good folks of our chat find you?
Sure thing. Yeah, you can find me at Shiny Pikmin on Twitter. If you like the analysis that you heard here and you want personal coaching, DM me on Discord, Shiny Pikmin, the same thing there. I'm Shiny Pikmin on YouTube, on Twitch. I post a lot of my VODs from if you want to see some nice high level Snipe Rider, Wellstring as well gameplay. Find me on YouTube, Shiny Pikmin there as well. Fufu, yourself?
You guys can find me at @SplatFufu on Twitter or Blue Sky. We have some things happening on Twitter.com.
Yes,
I do art, I do commentary, and of course my backline shenanigans. So if you want to see more of me, do come follow me. I'm up and running for a little bit of Splatoon shenanigans. David, where can the good people find you, as a matter of fact?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can go and find me on Twitter at DRF_Splatoon and on Twitch at TritonDRF. But per usual, you can find me right here on the CCA channel covering all things Collegiate Splatoon. And this weekend, playing with Shiny at Booyah Bay. Fufu will be there as well, but as an adversary. So hopefully we'll get to run into each other in bracket. But nonetheless... It is going to be a good time this weekend, so I'm excited to see you both very soon.
Yes.
So thank you once again.
Less than 24 hours after all. Yeah.
True. Basically 24 hours from now, we'll get a chance to see each other, so I'm excited for it. Thank you all so much for watching PodCCAst episode 26 featuring Crab and Go and the University of Houston. We will see you all next week for episode 27.
Yes, sir. Bye, y'all.